Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're just going to go through a review of a great game. It's a Stefan Feld game, and it's called Bora Bora. There we go. We'll go through a couple of main points. The points that I want to go through is length of the game, theme, artwork, rulebook, mechanics, what I like and what I dislike, overall thoughts, and also I'm going to give you the rating of the game for me. So this is a Stefan Feld game, and as many people know, a lot of people love Stefan Feld, and then there's the haters on Stefan Feld, which is interesting because really people that hate Stefan Feld tend to play his game still. I think it's kind of a Tom Vassell thing. Tom Vassell doesn't really like Stefan Feld games all that much. Some he does like, and I think it's kind of spilled off into the larger community. But I see a lot of his games being played. A lot of his games have multiple print runs. They're always around. There are a few games out there that don't come out, like Notre Dame. You can't find that in English, but you can definitely find it in German, which is just a little bit more expensive. Than you print out the rules, you're fine. But this is one of the games, Bora Bora is one of the games that is well known, well loved, and you can get it anywhere, and it's a fairly decent price. So let's get into it. The artwork, I think the artwork is amazing. I really love it. I like the color. It's not too cartoony, but it's a nice style, and this is kind of what I want from my board games. I also think the quality of the game box, like the fact that your board has on the other side, there's a kind of a watermark of one of the paint pictures. They put some nice components in it for a Euro game, and it looks a lot nicer than some of Stefan Feld's other games. Now I understand that Stefan Feld doesn't really have any real say at all about the artwork and sometimes even the theme, but this one, it seems whoever was doing it did a really good job. The theme, once again, a lot of people say that Stefan Feld games don't have a theme. I completely disagree. I would say that this game has a lot of mechanisms similar to Castles of Burgundy. In Castles of Burgundy, its theme is a little bit, it's lost a little bit. But Bora Bora, I think it's there. There's a lot of times where you're hiring or getting men and women. Let me see if I can get one. Like these men and women, things. And this really makes sense. I mean, you get the help of a man or a woman, and there's a, in the tribes, there's, things that men are supposed to do and women are supposed to do, and even no matter what we think of that today, it's kind of thematic. Bora Bora, I spent a lot of time in Vanuatu. I used to do a lot of development work, and I really like this theme because it kind of reminds me of my days in these small villages in Vanuatu. I spent many months there, living there and doing all kinds of interesting stuff. I think the theme works here. I think the mechanisms work with the theme. I really like how you can area control on your board, and the fish for points makes sense to me. I mean, not everything has to be direct conflict. I mean, it's funny that a lot of people think that the only thing that's really thematical in board games is a direct conflict thing, which I think is kind of funny because you're rolling dice, which is not thematic. I've never seen a bunch of generals roll dice to find out who won a war. So It's a good theme with good mechanisms that work well together. The rule book. The rule book is probably one of the best rule books. I love it. It's a fairly complex game, but once you know it, there's this little column on the side that basically gives you the fast rules. And this is a Ravensburg game. They do this a lot, where they've got the rules, it makes sense, and there's always a quick, brief summary. And once you've played the game once, that's all you need to do, is read that. They're excellent at taking out words that are not needed in a rule book. Repeating yourself, don't repeat yourself. It makes it hard to find that information again. Was it here? Was it there? I forget, right? Here it's, how many pages? 11 pages. And really, each page, you only have to read a quarter of it. And everything's highlighted, everything's bolded that needs to be bolded. Makes perfect sense. It's really good. I do notice that sometimes people get confused with the card play in this game. Because the cards break the rules of the game. So when you play, for instance, what is it? I don't know. Well, the blue card, right? You can actually, instead of using your pips on your die, allow you to indicate where you can go, right? And you can say, well, no, I've got a lower pip die, but I'm going to use it in this spot anyways. So that breaks the rules, and people get a bit jumbled up because of that. But, once they get it, they get it. Like I said, it's not a particularly simple game to learn, but it works really well. It makes perfect sense when you get your head around it. So rule book, I think it's one of the best rule books out there. They've really done it really well. Mechanisms, it's a Stefan Feld game. If you don't like Euros, don't play it. And Bora Bora has this mechanism where you roll the die, there's a bit of luck, but every time you roll that die, you can mitigate it. You might have a low-pipped die. Well, that's fine, because that means you can block people out, and it's great for your to your advantage. And there is a lot of in-your-face kind of stuff with this game. You can really screw people. But yeah, you can screw them, but they'll always find another thing to use that die with. The first time I played, I think I put one of my die on the go fishing action, which gives you just 2 victory points or something like that. And then the second time I played, I never had to do that. There was always a plan B that I could figure out. And yes, this game is going to be, if you play it a lot, or if you've done it a couple of times, or if you're good with Euros, you're going to beat the pants off of the people that have just started, right? There's a learning curve. This game is a chess game. You really can get into the strategy and get better at the game. And that's what I love. Any game that's, there's the mechanisms, it's kind of luck based, and there's decisions, but who knows who will win. This is definitely a game where, if you think about it, you'll find a good turn, and you can definitely win with careful thought and maneuvering. So I like that. AP prone depends on who you're playing with. This game is definitely, if somebody is AP prone, you probably don't want to play this game with them. It's just, it's one of those heavy Euros, so consider that. So yeah, the mechanisms, I love rolling. I love trying to figure out what I want to do. There's multiple choices, and I get excited. It's like, oh, if they don't go there, if everything works out perfectly, I could do this and this and this, and this all chains together. And that's the other thing I like about this game, chaining. You can get one of these moves where you kind of go, I do this, and this activates this, you know, and you kind of get a whole bunch of stuff, and you're much better off. But you can also, there's a lot of times where I'm playing and I go, oh, damn it, I screwed up my last move, this is horrible, right? So, you know, you can screw yourself too, which is nice. That's the challenge in it, and you are playing yourself a lot of the time. New players, that's how I would think you should go into it. Just play yourself. Don't worry too much about the other players, except for, you know, blocking them or making sure they don't block you. But, you know, the scoreboard, you know, work at seeing how good you can be at the game, and then, you know, go for actually beating somebody later when you get a hang of the handhold of the game. What do I think? Well, I've told you a lot about what I think. This is my favorite Stefan Feld game, for sure. A lot of people like Bora Bora. This is much more complicated than Bora Bora, and I really like it. I like how the theme works together in it. I think the theme works well with what you're doing, and I like the cards. You've got all these options, and then if you're using the cards, and you need to use the cards, you need to get actions to get cards, you can really, you know, mitigate that luck. And oh, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it seems to flow very well. And I really, really, really like this game. Things that I don't like, there's not much that I don't like about this game. And honestly, even considering that it's one of it's my favorite Stefan Feld game, it's also one of my top, you know, 3 games of all time, like top 5. It's always really hard to say this is my favorite game, but it's definitely up there. It's a really solid, good Euro game, and that's what I enjoy. So what don't I like about it? I mean, if you're playing with the wrong players, you're going to get some AP. And that's with any of my favorite games, though, right? So you just have to play with the right players. And if you're not playing with the right players, if you drag in somebody that came to play, you know, Forbidden Desert or Ticket to Ride, and you pull this out, you made a mistake there, right? This is going to be tough. This is going to be, you know, a lot of people get frustrated with this game because there's a lot to wrap your head around. So I would say the negative things is it's not a beginner game, and it's definitely a Euro game. You can't have everybody, all your friends play this game. There's people that are not going to enjoy this game. Saying that, if you like the Euro games, if you really want to have your brain smoke and bubble, this is it. This is a good one for that. Rating. So, rating, I don't usually give very high ratings for games. I'm fairly fair, but it takes a lot to get a 10 out of me. And Bora Bora, it's a 10 out of 10. It's great. I love it. There's nothing that I dislike about it, with a couple of caveats about make sure you're playing with the right people. But 10 out of 10, absolutely love this game. If you're into Euros, this is amazing. This has luck, but you can mitigate every piece of it. There's tons and tons of options, and there's always a way out. There's always a way out of that corner that you got yourself stuck into. So if you breathe and you really look at it, you can find a new strategy. So 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10, Bora Bora. If you want it, go get it.